Imagine you walk into a cozy cafe and there she is. Glasses perched perfectly, completely absorbed in what looks like a 500-page novel, hair falling gracefully as she turns each page. She's exactly your type, but there's just one tiny problem. The last book you actually finished was probably assigned in high school, and you're pretty sure SparkNotes doesn't count as reading. So how do you bridge that gap between her intellectual world and your more, let's say, practical approach to life? Well, stick around because today I'm going to show you exactly how to captivate the bookworm without pretending to be someone you're not. Here's the thing that most guys get completely wrong when approaching intellectual women. They think they need to fake being well-read or pretend they've consumed the entire works of Shakespeare. This approach backfires spectacularly because genuine bookworms can spot a fraud from across the cafe. They've spent years developing their literary taste and knowledge, so your hastily Googled summary of Moby Dick isn't fooling anyone. Instead, I'm going to teach you how to use your authentic self to create genuine attraction. The secret weapon you already possess is curiosity, and curiosity is incredibly attractive to intellectual people. Think about it. Bookworms love books because they're curious about ideas, stories, human nature, and different perspectives. When you approach with genuine curiosity about her world, you're speaking her language. You don't need to match her knowledge level. You need to match her enthusiasm for learning and discovery. Let's start with the approach itself. Forget everything you think you know about pickup lines. Walking up and saying something like, "Hey, is that a good book?" is the conversational equivalent of vanilla ice cream. It's safe, boring, and instantly forgettable. Instead, you want to demonstrate genuine interest in her experience. Try something like, "You look completely absorbed in that." I haven't seen someone that focused on a book since, well, probably never. What's got you so captivated? This shows you're observing her engagement rather than just the object she's holding. Here's where it gets interesting. When she starts explaining the book, resist the urge to nod along pretending you understand references you don't get. Instead, lean into your curiosity. Ask follow-up questions that show you're genuinely interested in her perspective. That sounds fascinating. What drew you to this particular author? Or, how does this compare to other books in the same genre? These questions demonstrate that you value her expertise and want to understand her world better. Now let's talk about the power of contrast. You might think being different from her is a disadvantage, but it's actually your biggest asset. Intellectual women often spend time with other bookish people who share similar interests and communication styles. You represent something different and potentially exciting. The key is presenting this contrast as complementary rather than conflicting. Share your own passions with equal enthusiasm. Maybe you're into fitness, cooking, music production, or building things with your hands. Don't downplay these interests or act like they're less valuable than literary pursuits. Passion is attractive regardless of the subject matter. When you talk about your interests with the same intensity she talks about her books, you create an intriguing dynamic. You're both people who dive deep into things you care about, just in different areas. This brings us to one of the most crucial points about connecting with intellectual women. They're attracted to depth, not breadth. You don't need to be well-read in everything. You need to be genuinely passionate about something. Whether it's understanding how engines work, perfecting your grandmother's recipe, or analyzing football strategies, intellectual depth in any area demonstrates the kind of mind that bookworms find appealing. Let's address the elephant in the room. What if she asks about your reading habits directly? Honesty is your best policy here, but frame it strategically. Instead of saying, "I don't really read," try, "I'm more of a hands-on learner. I tend to absorb information through doing rather than reading about it." This positions your learning style as different, not inferior. You might add, "Though I have to admit, watching you get so engaged with that book makes me curious about what I might be missing." This creates an opportunity for her to become your guide into the literary world, which many bookworms find incredibly appealing. There's something deeply satisfying about sharing your passions with someone who's genuinely interested, but approaching from a different angle. You're not competing with her knowledge. You're giving her a chance to be the expert, which is a role most intellectual people enjoy. Body language plays a crucial role when connecting with more reserved individuals. Bookworms often prefer subtlety over bold gestures. Instead of taking up lots of space or using dramatic movements, mirror her more measured energy. Lean in slightly when she's explaining something complex. Maintain steady eye contact that shows you're processing what she's saying. These small adjustments signal that you're adapting to her communication style rather than forcing her to adapt to yours. Timing your interactions is equally important. Don't interrupt her reading abruptly or expect her to drop everything for a conversation. Wait for natural breakpoints, like when she closes the book or looks up naturally. This respect for her space and activity demonstrates social awareness that intellectual women particularly appreciate. Here's a psychological insight that most people miss. Bookworms are often excellent at reading subtext and nonverbal cues because they spend so much time analyzing character motivations and narrative subtleties. This means authenticity is absolutely crucial. Any incongruence between what you're saying and how you're feeling will be detected immediately. If you're nervous, it's better to acknowledge it honestly than try to hide it behind false confidence. Building connection requires finding common ground that goes beyond surface interests. Maybe you both appreciate good storytelling, even if you prefer movies and she prefers novels. Perhaps you both value learning and personal growth, just through different methods. Maybe you're both detail-oriented people who notice things others miss. These deeper compatibility points matter more than sharing identical hobbies. The conversation should feel like a cultural exchange rather than an interrogation or a sales pitch. Share your perspective on things she brings up, even if your knowledge comes from different sources. If she mentions a book about historical events, you might contribute your thoughts based on documentaries you've watched or places you've visited. This shows you can engage with ideas even if you encounter them through different mediums. As the conversation develops, look for opportunities to suggest activities that blend both of your worlds. Maybe there's an author reading at a local bookstore that she might enjoy, and you could experience something new together. Perhaps there's a movie adaptation of a book she loves that you could discuss from your different perspectives. These suggestions show you're thinking about how to continue the connection while respecting her interests. Don't underestimate the power of asking for recommendations. I'm thinking about getting back into reading. Based on our conversation, what would you suggest for someone who's been away from books for a while? This accomplishes several things simultaneously. It shows you're open to her world, values her expertise, and creates a natural reason for future contact when you've had time to read her suggestion. The key to maintaining interest is balancing showing genuine curiosity about her intellectual pursuits while maintaining your own identity and interests. You're not trying to become a bookworm yourself. You're creating a dynamic where your different approaches to life complement each other. This creates much more sustainable attraction than trying to pretend you're someone you're not. Remember that intellectual women often value deep, meaningful conversations over small talk. Don't be afraid to explore bigger topics if the conversation naturally moves in that direction. Your practical, real-world perspective on life's bigger questions can be just as valuable as her theoretical knowledge. The combination of her literary insights and your practical experience can create fascinating discussions. The goal isn't to impress her with knowledge you don't have. It's to intrigue her with the knowledge and perspectives you do have while showing genuine interest in expanding your understanding of her world. This approach creates authentic connection based on mutual curiosity and respect rather than pretense and performance. So next time you see that captivating bookworm in the corner of your local cafe, remember that your biggest asset isn't matching her reading list. It's bringing your authentic self, genuine curiosity, and willingness to learn to the conversation. The most attractive thing you can offer isn't fake intellectualism, but real engagement with the person behind the book. What's your biggest challenge when it comes to approaching someone whose interests seem completely different from your own? Drop a comment below and let me know what specific situations you'd like me to cover in future videos. Don't forget to subscribe.